Hey, Bry.
What's up?
Hey, just
So who do we have joining us tonight?
Joe Wilson,
Joe Wilson.
the um the Bourbon Pitmaster.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Our guy from the Norwood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
And Jim Lester was the same way. See, look at Joe. See, lock at
He's
Joe's
professional.
background.
Uh-oh.
See, we can't.
Uh-oh.
We look at Joe's background.
Yo, man.
Say we're peasants.
Well, we'll try to keep up, Chuck. Come on. What are you doing over there?
That's not a virtual background, by the way.
I know you, Joe. I know that's not virtual. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
That's not a virtual background. All right, hold on. Let me switch to my mic. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
We got you.
All right. How am I coming through?
You're coming through good.
All right, good.
Clean as a whistle.
Good deal. How you guys doing?
We're doing good, man.
For Monday.
Marissa told me to tell you hello. I literally just got off the phone with her.
That's my sister. Where was it? You and I think, go back a little bit farther than Marissa and I, but it wasn't that much longer.
Yeah. We go back, honestly, let me see. When I was in the loft was 20 years ago now. Gee.
I thought it was about 20 years ago because
yeah.
When I was hanging out with you in the loft, man, you know, I was down the street at the International Bazaar doing tastings off and on.
Yeah.
And that was real funny because I literally started doing tastings on the stoop at the corner of Iron Street and Jefferson. And I was literally doing tastings in Dixie cups.
Humble beginnings, sir. Humble beginnings, right?
There you go. And Joe, you and I go back 1 year for 5 minutes over at the Norwood for the Taste Michigan Invades the D event we did last.
Ah, yes, indeed.
So nice to see you again.
Indeed. You as well, man. You as well. Yeah. So things have evolved a little bit since last time we met. Let's see. I was, really just getting my feet wet with the podcasting and the Bourbon Pitmaster, right? I mean, I've always been Smoky Joe Barbecue. I've had that since 2017. Technically 2016 is when that started, when I won the largest rib competition in the state of Michigan. So I've been doing that, and then just decided to take my passion for barbecue, whiskey, and
the sticks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, these are my vices. Could be worse. I could think of a few other things I could be doing.
Heck yeah.
There's some bad things you could be doing. There's also some real jobs you could be doing too. Something that you hate, punching in and punching out for.
Well, I did that for many years.
Yeah.
Did that for many years. Had to carry a gun for many years, Chuck. You know that.
Yes, sir.
And going back to your time and your work in the judicial system.
Yep.
So, been there, done that.
Yeah. Well, I'm still there right now. They keep asking me when I'm leaving, and I've got a good crew. And I told you I got remarried and we bought a house, so I'm not going to be leaving anytime soon.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome, man. So, Brian, what's going on your way?
Oh, well, most immediate. I'm just landing from doing some market work down in Grand Rapids. Had to get back up to Traverse so I can talk to you all. Let's see. Just trying to sell wine, man. My day job is Chateau Chantal. My night job is importing wine from Puglia and France, and trying to find placements for those and distributors. But I think everything's coming together in 2026. So hopefully this two guys thing can serve as a launching pad for all of our dreams.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely,
take
absolutely.
Well, I did tell you I ran into Varchaz Shanker at the wine event and connected. So I sent you guys the emails where they may want to do a remote from the tasting room.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that can come out of that. And plus, I took bottles of both the Terrible and the French wine with me and gave them to Psalms there. One was who's that? Dare Calder Piemonte, who I think, I'm trying to remember who he works with. But when I gave him the bottle, I asked him, I said, when you going to open it up? And he says, well, I'm going to get a couple of people together and open it up and we're all going to taste it. I said, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So,
Well, I might be 2 weeks out from signing with Imperial. I just met with their brand director today. So, this is this legal stuff in Michigan is so difficult because I have to make a decision if I want to be married to this distributor for the rest of our brand life, right?
Right.
Because we're going to be love them or hate them.
You can
that's the partner.
You can do way worse than Imperial.
Oh man, have you checked any RNDC stuff lately? Oh, they are consolidating and selling every single state.
Yeah.
And falling to pieces.
Yeah.
I have not been told, with my Chateau Chantal hat on, I have not been told if Michigan is for sale by RNDC, but I've been told by people at Meyer and people at Imperial that they're going to be sold. So that's going to put some questions in the air for us as a brand coming very soon here. When they dropped us in Illinois, they dropped us about 3 weeks out from their spring reset for Meyer. So we were left out of that scenario.
Well, that's not good business.
Didn't even tell us about Indiana. I had to read about Indiana last week on an email from one of the wine periodicals that I get. So doesn't surprise me, but man, whatever happened to the good old trust and a handshake, look me in the eye type of thing.
Well, they did look you in the eye. And they still found a way to get behind you.
The question is, when they were looking you in the eye, were you looking back at them? That's the question.
Well, I might have been starry-eyed at the time, maybe.
I'll tell you, man, and I, it's no secret how I feel about the distribution industry, more especially here in Michigan. It's criminal.
Mm-hmm.
It is criminal. And now that I'm into this whiskey world and, doing a lot of networking across the country, literally, right, with folks, I'm hearing the struggles of other smaller craft distilleries. Mm-hmm. And I have several of them that I'm trying to do barrel picks with that just refuse to come to Michigan the legit way anyway. Right. Mm-hmm. Because they don't want to play the politics.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to play the politics. You got to pay to play.
Mm-hmm.
I have
even though it's still legal.
Yeah, I have one particular brand that I'm working with, who their distributor, who I'll leave unnamed. There's some sketchy business going on with certain retailers.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it's impacting a region here locally and with competitors, right? My thing is, let the best man win. If you're providing a good service and products for people, don't play those games.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who knows this is basically, especially when it comes to spirits, this is a fairly closed universe. For the longest time, you had basically 2 spirit distributors in the state. And those 2 spirit distributors If you were trying to get a spirit in the state, you had to go to one of those guys. And I don't care what anybody says, they're all on the golf course together. So the bottom line is any new liquor that's coming into the state, they're going to say, hey, let's do this. Let's have our tiers pretty close to each other so it doesn't, it doesn't matter who you choose. You're not going to get a significant decrease in cost. So you just make up your mind. And because I know a lot of liquor that will not come into the state because
I'm working with several of them now through certain clubs, because the clubs, they can do it at private, right? Direct sales with clubs, but through the state, they refuse to come here. And I mean, we're talking some quality brands, man. I mean, and they don't want to play the games. But to your point, Ryan, the trend is turning. The market is turning. Imperial's doing some things. I'm wondering if Southern is going to do some things.
Could be, but Southern's not any better than the other two big guys from what I know.
Yeah.
But
and it's a state that's controlled by politicians and deep pockets.
But at least
it's a reason why folks don't ship to Michigan. You know that, right? Like, we're literally one of 6 states that folks don't ship to.
Yeah, and I can recite the law that it comes from. Yeah, it's a crapshoot. But if you can win, it's what's if you can win in New York, you can win anywhere. I feel the same thing about the adult beverage business in Michigan. If you can make it work in Michigan, you can make it work anywhere.
Well, no, I had somebody who basically started their brand here in Michigan and ran into so much BS that they ended up moving down to Atlanta. And that's Nayana Ferguson and the tequila brand.
Okay.
Because I remember when Nayana started that thing, and when her and her husband started Anteel. And I thought that was a feather in the cap for Michigan. I thought it was going to get at least Michigan government to start looking at the fact that people are creating brands in Michigan and they're trying to stay here. But what ended up happening was they would always run into so much BS. And I guess they started talking around and realized that if you just move down to Atlanta, you get a little bit more. And I think, what is it? Nayana she got a proclamation from the city, I think only after being there for a month. That's how much they respected her move.
That's nice. I will say the one thing that I do like, at least on the supplier side, about the state of Michigan is that it's COD. And here's why. Because I've also had business in Chicago. And the way it happens in Chicago is that they can place an order, and until they need another order, you are not seeing that check come in the mail. Where in Michigan, if you order it, show me the money, and then I'll deliver it. Right.
Well, Michigan had that issue before, because I know of a number of bars.
Oh, sure.
Because who was at Bookies? I still remember one time I thought I was going in there and ordering a particular group of wine, a particular SKUs of wine from a particular distributor, and you can always tell when they owe the distributor, because we're not getting anything from them. We can't get nothing from them. And then I ordered something and it didn't show up. And then the rep called me and says, Bookies owes us money.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. And I think that was the reason why they have flipped the model. So it's more or less direct payments.
Yeah.
From now on, it's like, we have to have access to your account.
Yeah.
So we can get our money.
Yeah.
Now, is this, so we know this exists in the spirits world. Is this really heavy when it comes to wine also?
Yep.
So people don't pay their bills.
Yep.
Wow.
It's harder to not pay bills now because what the state mandated, I think 3 years ago, was the for every adult beverage was the requirement to have ETF or ACH or something, and
Yeah.
most of them are using the same company, which makes me a little, makes me question fintech on why all of a sudden is fintech the only player in town, but that's how people get paid now. What's
Yep.
up, Ken?
Hey, how you guys
Ken,
doing?
Ken,
Hey,
Joe,
Hey, what's up,
Joe,
man?
Ken.
hey,
What's
Joe,
happening,
nice to
man?
meet you. Hey, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Yeah,
Likewise.
I had to relocate my
I see.
position here, so it took me a minute to get situated here, but here I am. Here I am present.
He's present.
All right.
So shall we begin, Chuck?
Let's go. Good evening, Joe Wilson. Um, Thank you for coming out and being a part of the Two Guys Tasting podcast. If we can get started with just a brief history of Joe Wilson, um, basically going back to, or let's just ask this question: when did you start drinking bourbon?
Well, that's an incriminating question, Chuck.
I don't know.
So I'll tell you. I'll tell you this. My introduction to the spirits world started at the age of 14 while a student at Cass Technical High School. I took a science class, and it's been all downhill from there. I learned about fermentation, and I decided to go home and play mad scientist in my dad's basement, and with some of the mason jars that I would hide in the rafters with some old fruit water and some yeast, and just see what comes of it. And there's been no looking back since. I remember when I got caught doing that, my dad said, "Man, what is this? What is this prison brew you got going in my house?" So I literally was taking old peaches or whatever, water and some, some yeast, and uh, throwing it together, putting it up there in the rafters, and just letting it sit for a few months, and then, you know, transferring it, and I was figuring it out, man. It was pretty bad actually, but we're talking 30% alcohol at that time, right? And now I'm sitting here drinking 118.6 proof. So,
Ooh.
come a long way, over the last 30, 40 years. So for me, man, bourbon was something that I transitioned to from Scotch, actually. I think when we met, Chuck, about 20 years ago, I was, into Scotch at that time.
Yep.
And I still enjoy Scotch, but something about bourbon just really gravitated me towards the smokiness, not the peatiness, the smokiness, right? We're talking about the charred barrels, the toasted barrels. And I think it has a lot to do with my background in culinary, and being a pit master, right? Doing barbecue, because a lot of the same woods, the oak that I smoke meats with, I'm actually smoking meats right now. I actually have 2 briskets and 4 pork shoulders going out here on the smoker now. So for me, um, those, you know, similarities just really drew me in, man. I'm like, I like this. So once I started, tasting bourbon, which obviously the difference between bourbon and Scotch is, bourbon has to be new white oak, charred barrels, where traditionally Scotch are used barrels, sometimes old bourbon barrels or wine barrels, right? For that part. So it's a little bit different, a little bit different funk on it. I'll say that. So that's pretty much what we brought me here today, man, and where I'm at, and my love for, bourbon. So sipping on some old Louisville. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep.
Oh, Louisville. Okay.
Old Louisville 11-year pick from Texas Martin Kalamazoo. I recently just did 3 picks with Old Louisville, so I wanted to kind of compare them and see how they match up. So
Yeah, that looks awful old there. You said 11 years?
It is, yeah. It's got character.
What is the significance of 11?
So I won't say that 11 is a really significant year when it comes to bourbon. For me, I will say I prefer bourbons, that are older than 5 years.
Okay.
Right. For me, a sweet spot is that 8-year range. Something about that 8 years of maturation really does something for, the whiskey inside of that barrel. I do believe that sometimes it can be too old, 11, 15, 18. Sometimes it can get, the tannins are too much. You know what I mean? So, but this 11-year is good. I'll say that.
That's interesting to me because what you had just said reversed what I was thinking, which, with wine, when you let it sit, the tannins soften over time. But you gave me the impression that it increases over time with bourbon.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So, yeah, absolutely. So, and it's not always the case, but the tannins can be overwhelming. It can become too oaky. You'll hear people say, "Hey, this is too oaky." So double oak is one of my favorite things, right? Where it's aged for so many years in its initial cask, and then they transfer it to a secondary cask for an extended period of time. So it gets a deeper, richer mouthfeel, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
That double oak. So I enjoy double oak. So when people say something is too oaky, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. I recently picked up a 22-year-old bottle of Heaven Hill that I love. It's my whiskey of the year so far.
Yep, I'm a Heaven Hill snob.
Okay.
And Brian, I think the difference in aging of wine in barrels and whiskey is the difference from toasting to charring.
Okay. I was wondering if it had to do with acid. Acid.
Well, you have a higher alcohol content that's going to draw a lot more tannins out of the wood. That's number one.
Okay.
But generally, in winemaking, we're generally using like lightly toasted barrels. We're not using charred barrels. And in bourbon, the cooperages that are doing these barrels, everybody has a certain level of char on their barrels. And that imparts additional flavor to the distillant while it's aging.
Amen.
And does it have to be American oak by definition?
It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does. So, for bourbon to be bourbon, it has to be 51% corn in the mash bill.
Okay.
It has to be American white virgin oak, right? Charred. It does not have to be toasted. It can, but it does not have to be toasted, but it has to be charred. So, those are the most distinct differences, right? We're talking 2 years and 4 years. If it's less than 4 years, it has to have an age statement on it, but it has to be at least 2 years old to be bourbon. Even though I just learned recently of someone that's doing bourbon that's less than that. Legally, they can't, right? But they're playing around with that. I don't know what they're doing to cook it, but they're cooking it. So, yeah.
Is it like Garrison Brothers down in Texas?
I wasn't gonna talk about.
That's oil, man. That's not whiskey. That's as dark as that stuff is. That's oil. That's not whiskey.
Well, I'll say this, Chuck. So to your point,
you got some.
So take a look at this.
Oh,
looks like motor oil, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That comes from Alabama, from Detling.
Right? Yeah. I know about Detling.
So Detling, they're cooking. I mean, because of the Alabama heat. Climate.
Yeah.
This is only 59 months old, right? And we're looking at 56.24% ABV. 59 months, right? But I will say this to your point, Chuck, about barrel influence. I don't think we put enough emphasis or consideration on the barrel influence of a distillate and what that barrel does for the juice inside of it. I mean, everyone talks about Kelvin, right? That's the Kelvin Cooperage is the granddaddy of of barrels, but there are some others that are making some really good barrels. They really are. So,
Joe, I have a question for you. I was thinking about this as you guys were talking, and just so you know, I'm a screenwriter and a film producer. So my contribution to this production is eventually we're going to be doing a TV show that we're going to be filming, where it's kind of like a man versus food for wine and spirits. But I love bourbon. I started drinking bourbon a few years ago. So my question is, in terms of popularity, because it seems like bourbon has become very popular, I would say, with the past maybe 5 years, maybe 5 to 10 years or so. I would say probably within the past maybe 2, 3 years, it's become very popular, amongst my friends. All we talk about is bourbon, more than the tequilas and the vodkas and all that stuff. And I know for me, I've kind of transitioned more to bourbon. Not that I still drink a good tequila and a vodka, but more when I want to sip on something, a spirit, bourbon is my number one drink. So, why do you think bourbon has become so popular lately? Do you think it's due to like Uncle Nearest? Because I know ever since Uncle Nearest got it popping off, that's kind of brought, I think, more attention just from a marketing perspective. But what do you think? Why bourbon is like the hot spirit right now?
yeah, that's a great question, Ken. So let me first say this. There are distinct nuanced differences in the demographics of bourbon drinkers.
Okay.
Okay. Um, there are those that drink bourbon for the purpose of saying they're drinking bourbon and nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
I've loved what Uncle Nearest has done for the culture and the community. Unfortunately, they're going through some trying times right now.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
Um, as far as their product goes, outside of what's in the bottle, what's on the outside of it, the symbolism and all the things surrounding it have really been a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
But and the African American community really latched on to that, right, and
Mm-hmm.
started supporting Fawn Weaver and what she's done and what Uncle Nearest is about. But historically, um, Nearest Green again taught Jack Daniels to make whiskey, but no one talks about that.
Right, exactly.
Right? He's in the picture with this man.
Right, right.
If you pay attention to it,
That
right?
is true. Yes.
So African Americans have been, distilling, blending for many, many years. They just didn't have a title or necessarily know exactly the formal education side of it, right? They just knew
Mm-hmm.
it tastes good. And at the end of the day, what do people drink for? To taste. Well, there
Right.
is that crowd that drinks just to say they're drinking. No, I can't forget that because I
Yeah.
see them, right? And I'm like, dude, just stay in your lane, bro. Drink whatever you want to drink. Don't try to keep up with me, right? Like, it's not about that. It's not a competition. Drink what you want to drink. I'm drinking neat. That's the way that I drink. If you want cubes in your bourbon, do that. If you want to put Coca-Cola in your bourbon, do that. No one's going to think any less of you. Hell, Pappy historically was drank with Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
It's just now in the last few years that it become, this big thing and because of the predatory sales and the hype from the movies and things, but people used to drink it with Coca-Cola, man. So
And what some people still don't understand in the bourbon game, a lot of these brands have switched companies so many times that the consistency of that brand can be in question for a minute. Because what was it? Early Times was with Brown and Foreman. Then Sazerac bought them, and then they said the quality dipped after Sazerac first got it. but then now they've adjusted it, and some people are saying it's better now. But again, it's all, when I say drink what you like, in the bourbon game, it's the same thing.
Drink what you like, man. I mean, you know, um, you guys having a strong wine background, right? You have those that prefer dark reds. You have those that prefer more of your white wines. My thing is this: just put the glass to your lips. I don't care what's in it. Just do you, right?
Mhm.
Like that's the thing. But everyone's trying to compete. Oh, I gotta have a dark red because I'm eating a steak, bro. If you
Mhm.
want to drink, a nice white wine, a Pinot or something with your ribeye, to do that, right? Like it's all good, man.
Yeah, I was
I
just doing
started
French.
all my classes. Go ahead, Chuck.
No, I was just doing French fries with a sparkling on Saturday. So
See. I mean, it's whatever you like. For me, the reason I prefer drinking neat is because I don't know, maybe I'm kind of a whiskey nerd, so I'm very analytical with it, and I like to actually dissect what I'm drinking, and I can't do that if it's corrupted. What I mean by corrupted, you understand that terminology is
Mhm.
I got ice cubes in it, right? It's not in its
Right.
purest form. Now,
Hold up.
okay. Man, I thought the rapture was coming down on you, right? I said,
Right.
thought the rapture was coming down on you, brother. Oh man. But Chuck, what are you sipping on over there? I saw you pouring something.
bruh, did you see the stuff I got from Arkansas from Delta Dirt?
No.
You know about Delta Dirt, right?
I know the bottle. Put it up there so I can see it.
I know, Chuck. Can't see that.
Can you see it now?
Oh.
Oh, sweet roots.
I need to try that, man.
Yeah, me
Bruh,
too.
this is okay. It's a bourbon because it's 51% corn. There's some rye and some malted barley. But the other ingredient that they use and distill is sweet potatoes.
So
Sweet
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
potatoes.
minute. Wait. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that this is the three grains that you mentioned plus
Sweet
sweet
potato.
potatoes?
Yes, my brother. This is a Delta Dirt. It's the Williams family out of Arkansas. And they were sharecroppers that ended up buying land. They became significant landowners. They are now fourth generation farmers in Arkansas. And so they were growing all the grains and everything and just decided, basically the patriarch actually used to moonshine, and that's how he ended up buying his land. So it's a tradition that has been passed down generation to generation. And this, I guess, the third or fourth generation is the one that started the Delta Dirt distillery in Arkansas. And I was surprised that I was able to get this direct ship to the house.
I
And
need to
you,
try some of that.
As
brother,
do I.
What's
when
the
you
proof on it?
when you first open this one is, I think this one is 96.
Okay. That's a good place to hang out.
Yeah, it's 96. But they
That's a good
also
place
have
to hang out.
I think they have a 106. They have a 96 and a 106.
It's a good place
But
to hang
it's
out.
beautiful. And I still say when you say something is cooked, I don't have an age on this. But if you look at the color, if you look at that color,
So I
see
got
it.
questions.
As do I. Go ahead, Brian. You go
when
first.
I know the process fundamentally is boiling your mash to draw out the starches.
yep.
Are they putting a roast on the sweet potato before they boil it?
I don't know. I'm still in contact with them.
And that's what has me my mind blown, right? Because I've never seen anything like that. And it says bourbon on the bottles legally.
Let's see here. It says bourbon reimagined.
Bourbon reimagined.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
okay.
actually called Arkansas Brown.
There we go. Okay. Because I'm thinking to myself, legally they can't call it bourbon.
Well, no, it does say bourbon whiskey with spirits distilled from sweet potatoes, because it's 51% corn.
So I learned something when I went through this executive bourbon steward program, that it's about a play on words, right?
Right.
Like sometimes you have flavored whiskey, like your Jack Daniel's honey and those things, right? They can't call them bourbon. Right. Because it's flavored whiskey.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between flavored whiskey and a whiskey that was put into a secondary cask, like a honey barrel or maple syrup barrel, it's still bourbon, but it's finished whiskey.
Correct.
That's legally, you can call it's bourbon, but it's finished, whiskey, right? Not it's just a straight bourbon. So it's a play on words, man. I've learned. And then a lot of times when you get into reading these labels, they'll put things on there because they have to, but they'll make them so small that you got to read the back and all this, because they hide them in plain sight. Legally, they do that. They'll put on there it's 28 months old. Well,
I've yet to find any sort of age statement on this bottle.
Yeah,
and
ageless.
And there's also another possibility that they call it a formula spirit. Right, Joe? Where they have, in the wine business and then when we're making gin at the winery, if we were to ferment things together, it's not a formula wine. But if you were to ferment things separately and blend them, then it's a formula wine, which is a different type of classification that you need to submit to the TTB.
Yeah.
And the other piece to that is it depends on who you get at the TTB, because you get two different people and you're submitting the same label. You get two different opinions on what it needs to say.
So I'll give you another example. Going back to this Detling. What's unique about Detling is this. They're one of the first, if not the first distillery that's doing 5 or 6 grain bourbons. To your point, Chuck, your traditional bourbon is going to be 3 grains, right? It's going to have corn, rye, and a malted barley. This 6 grains. So can you imagine what those other 3 grains are?
Well, was that?
I know, right?
Well, no, it was, what is it? One of these distilleries was using something called spelt.
So this has malted oats in it.
Yeah.
So they're taking malted oats. I think one of you mentioned roasting. So they're doing different things, which is considered a different grain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, some whiskeys most are 3 or 4 grains. If it's a 4th grain, usually it's wheat.
Yeah,
it's going to be corn, wheat, rye, and malted barley, right? To be a bourbon. American light whiskey is totally different mash bill, right? ALWs are going to be generally corn and malted barley, only no rye, and usually a high corn 99.1 for a mash bill. So this is really unique. It's different, man, but it's still legal.
Oats. I'm going to say Bulgur is another one that they're putting in there.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you in a second. Let me
quinoa. Is that a grain?
It depends on who you talk to.
Quinoa and bourbon?
Well, no, I mean, again, as I always tell people, bourbon has to at least be 51% corn.
Mm.
So if it's 51% corn, you're just the mash bill can be anything else as long as you have that at least that 51% corn. But you'll have some that are, let's say, 60% corn and 20 something else, or
right.
Those are those quote unquote mash bills that because was it the 95.5
right
is the MGP.
Yep, 95.5 is your traditional rye.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the other mash bills, traditionally a traditional mash bill is going to have at least 51%, well, legally 51%, but most of them are going to be 60% or more corn, 21 rye, 9
barley.
malted barley, right? But this Detling, looking at it here, we're talking about corn, rye, oats. Here's the specialty malts: chocolate malted rye, caramel malted barley, and malted wheat, which contribute to a mocha dark chocolate note in the finished product. So it's really unique.
So,
You know.
Joe, you say I could put Hershey syrup in the bourbon and I can drink it?
You can do whatever you want, man. Hey, it's your whiskey. You can do whatever you want. I actually have a 5-liter barrel that I'm doing. I do infinity blends. And I'll get you guys some samples, man. I'm huge on blending and giving out samples. So I'll dump different things in there, but I actually keep notes on what's going in it because of the ratios. My next one that I'm getting ready to do, they got a new Green River honey that's coming out. It's only a 92 proof, but I'm going to throw a batch of that in there along with the high proof stuff I have in there because I want to kind of round it out with some sweetness to kind of round out that spice that's in there, if that makes sense.
Green River is doing a honey
cask.
A honey cask, and it's bourbon. 92
proof, man. That's a sweet spot. Just say, sign me up.
He's taking notes right now.
Sign me up.
So technical question once again, Joe. When you put the bourbon into a cask, is it 100% full? Is it 60% full like sherry? Is there a definition on how full the barrel is?
Yeah, there's no law on it. Obviously, it can't be more than 53 gallons. Some go short barrels, right? Short barrels are a real thing. I'm thinking it's the same thing in wine, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, we've got barriques and we have foudres.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna hook you up with. I know what I'm gonna hook you guys up with. So one of the picks that I did last month at Old Louisville, we did 3. We did a wheated, we did the 11 and a half year, we did an 8-year wheated, and we did a 10-year PX sherry.
Oh, nice.
I knew I'd get your attention then, Chuck. we did a 10-year PX sherry. I don't know if you guys tried the Project X PX sherry from Penelope. Okay.
No.
So I picked one of those last year. It was mid, but the store owner, he had to have it. I didn't really like it, but he had to have it. This 10-year PX sherry is 104 proof. Let me get the notes up for you. But it's, in my opinion, it's amazing. It's amazing. So the PX is a blend of 2 mash bills, 81 corn, 15 rye, and 4% malted barley. The second part of that blend is a 75 corn, 21 rye, and a 4% barley. And then that's finished in PX for 28 months. And then blend it with bourbon for balance and depth to kind of round it out. It's good, man.
That sounds good.
It's on a much sweeter side then?
But the finish on it, it's 104 proof, but it gives you a long hug. I mean, you're going to know it's there. Right? So, sure, it's sweeter, but that Kentucky hug that we talk about, it's there.
Yeah.
Man, that barrel, I'll send you guys a picture of the barrel. The barrel was black. I mean, just nasty black. It's been sitting in a dungeon somewhere, man. I mean, but I tell people some of the best things come out of those type of barrels, right? Some of the best things come out of those type of barrels. So I'm gonna send you guys a picture of this. You're gonna be like, oh, that does look nasty, but we were thieving right from it, and we were like, oh wow, we got to have this, and we took it home.
Yeah. No, I watched TJ Gamble on Bruisel a lot, and when he was doing his bourbon hunts, he ran across this bourbon that on the bottle it said "aged in darkness." So all the people that were with him was trying to figure out, well, what does that mean exactly? So when you mentioned that
Real.
barrel being just black, I said, maybe that's what aged in darkness means.
It was just, I got to find it and send it to you. You're going to be like, oh, man. Okay.
Hey, Chuck, I just thought of something. If once we get the TV show going for Two Guys Tasting for the Wine, we should do a spin-off show about bourbon and just call it that, Aged in Darkness.
Cool. Well, we could always do the Urban Bourbon Trail in Louisville. That's the easiest way to do something like that, because we could literally go down there for a weekend and film that.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And they have a lot of new attractions on the Urban Bourbon Trail, because I remember when they first started that sucker, there may have been 5, and now they've taken over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To where you can go in and was it one place you can see how they toast, how they char the barrels. Most of the spots have where you can go in and you can literally fill your own bourbon bottle directly from a barrel. Just a lot of different things.
So I have a follow-up question. This is for all of the panel here. And Joe, full disclaimer, I'm a novice when it comes to wine and spirits compared to the endless knowledge that Chuck has and Brian has. You sound very knowledgeable yourself, so being the newbie when it comes to knowing about how these different wines and spirits are made and created, I always ask these interesting questions here. So I serve, not only as the producer of the show, when it comes to the filming part, but just for those people in the audience who may be like me, you just primarily drink what you like the taste, but you still getting hip on how this stuff is created. So is climate the number one thing that determines how different wines and spirits are made when it comes to the taste? Because throughout all of the interviews we've done, I've noticed, the questions primarily that you asked, Brian, seem to be, and Chuck asked these questions too when it comes to like different climates and where different beverages are made. So is that the number one determining factor when it comes to how different wines and spirits taste? A wine or a bourbon made here in Michigan versus a wine and bourbon made in somewhere down south or out west or on the East Coast. Is climate like that number one determining factor?
Let the wine experts start first.
I would say it's always about the ingredients that the maestro is using. And even if you were to plant a strawberry in your front yard, it's not going to taste like the strawberry that's in your backyard, because you're going to, especially in Michigan, what we find in Michigan as far as soil is concerned is that, there's many wine regions throughout the planet that have contiguous soil structures.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a layer of topsoil, and then you have a layer of loam and clay, but then you might have, slate in certain parts of the world, or you have granite in other parts of the world. And those are going to, number one, create different characters on the fruit that is destined to grow there. And what I mean by that is not all fruits grow in the same place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to wine specifically, there is 100% a line that you can draw from the quality of the fruit and the character of the fruit to the place that it was grown. Now, in the old world, primarily the Mediterranean, the number one focus is the farm, and the wine will express the quality of the fruit that they're growing.
Okay.
In the new world, what happened is that we had advances in preservation and transportation. In the old world, you just planted vines near an urban area because you needed to hurry up and get the fruit back to the city so you can make wine before it turned into wine by the time you got to the city. In the new world, you're able to keep the product cool so it doesn't start to ferment prematurely, and you have faster ways of transportation to get it back to wherever your producer is. So you have the ability to hand pick specific areas where the fruit is going to grow.
Okay.
There's also in the new world a philosophy that if it doesn't taste like Bordeaux, at least I can make it taste like Bordeaux in the cellar. You don't find that in the old world. It's a different philosophy. But to answer your question, there is 100% relationship between the ingredients, where it's grown, and the end product. And what that could mean, and now if I might take a step further and not only suggest that it's the ingredients, but it's also the pieces that are used in the process. And what I can speak on is the difference in using French oak versus Hungarian oak versus American oak in the wine business, where you have tighter grains in France and French oak. And when you toast them, at least, I don't know about charring them, but when you toast them, there's certain spices that happen when that oak is caramelized. Literal spices like brown sugar, cinnamon, which is different from American oak, which from my understanding is a looser grain, more permeable, and also has a different result when you caramelize it. So that also, where that oak grows makes a big difference, and that, one of my questions for Joe was, are you using Minnesota oak, or where do they usually grab this wood for, the coopers that are making whiskey or bourbon? Because in the US we have oak everywhere, right? But it takes a specific white oak in order to be able to do what he's doing.
Okay.
Well, because just to be talking about the barrels and American oak, because for the longest time, Rioja was not using French oak; it was using American oak barrels. They just started flipping. At one point, they started going to like a 50-50 French, 50 American, 50 French. And now a lot of them are morphing more towards the French and away from American oak. So, but just to answer your question more directly, to me, climate has everything to do with everything in wine and spirits. Because as Joe and I was talking about in Texas, because it is just Texas heat,
yeah,
those barrels, if it's not in a climate controlled facility, if it's in something similar to a regular rick house like in Kentucky, the top floor of the Texas rick house is going to be way hotter than the top floor of that same sort of rick house in Kentucky. It just is. So yeah, climate has a major influence, and especially in wine, you can say if you're using American oak in your barrels, how those trees grow in their particular climate will affect how that imparts onto your wine. Grapes are grown like we're considered cool climate, and there's certain grapes that grow better in our climate than anywhere else. And better yet, if you take the grapes from Michigan, yes, you can grow them in California, but the climate in California will do something different to those grapes, so that once your end product is not going to taste anything like you would taste in Michigan.
So I got a question for you guys, being the wine experts. I hear that Michigan is the Napa of the Midwest. Is that a fair assessment?
I think when I hear that, I also hear that, Joe. And when I hear that, I think people are commenting on the scenery side of it as opposed to the wine that's being produced, because they're entirely different products. So if you've been to Chateau Chantal, we have rolling hills and a bunch of water, and people are comparing us to Napa and Bordeaux and a bunch of stuff by the scenery and not necessarily by the product.
So I was up there for my wedding anniversary, and I'm trying to remember. I went to a few, but I was feeling pretty good by the time I made it to the winery. We went to one, and it was really unique. A lot of steel, encased. I don't know if I can call them barrels that I remember seeing. Um, this this was one. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
Oh wow, that's
uh,
nice.
At
this
Two
was one.
Lands?
It had the star in the middle of the floor and a skylight.
Oh, Mari.
Man, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful. And that, I guess, thinking of the Napa, that made me feel that way being there, right? Like,
Sure.
man, the ambiance was really good. Even coming in, the way the stones were lined up, along the path. But we went to a few wineries there, and I learned something. This was this old Mission Peninsula.
Yep.
And I learned some things about, I was like, wow, okay. And I thought about you instantly, Chuck, when I was there. I'm like, man, this is cool.
Did you make it to the lighthouse?
No.
Okay.
But I go to Traverse a lot, actually. So I've been the last 3 years. I've become very good friends with the folks at Traverse City Whiskey.
Okay.
The head blender up there, he came down and visited me last week. So I made a post about it. He gifted me a bottle of his first production, his rye that he did.
Whoa.
But great
Is
time
that
up there. I
Chris?
love Traverse City. So Chris is the owner.
Yep.
That's Tom.
Okay.
Tom's the guy with the big long beard.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom knows his stuff, man. He trained under Nancy Fraley. I don't know if that name rings a bell to you all. So Nancy Fraley, they call her Nancy the Nose. Nancy Fraley started in France was her playground, right? And going back to what you guys mentioned a few minutes ago, I was thinking about when someone sent me something. I had a gentleman who sent me 3 offerings of Armagnac, straight Armagnac.
Nice.
One was from 1982. One was from 1985 and one from 1987. And I still have those samples if you guys want to try them. Whenever we connect, I'll let you try them. And it was an amazing experience, right? We're talking Ode,
Yes.
OADE, and it's straight Armagnac. So a lot of bourbons now are finished in Armagnac. So for me, it gave me a different perspective because I got to see Armagnac in its purest form before whiskey has corrupted it, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, this is something very unique. Chuck, do you know Logan Perkins? He's a big cognac guy, huge cognac guy. He used to work at Total Wine for a while.
Just so that everybody knows, Armagnac is a single distillation, and cognac is a double distillation.
Are they cousins?
Kind of, sorta. But the big distinction is the number of distillations. Single
they're both in the
distillation
brandy family, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the one thing about, and we talked about Michigan and its spirit stuff. For the longest time, there was only one Armagnac on either spirit distributors lists. And at one point, the only way I could get an Armagnac was to have it directly shipped. And there came a point when they shut that down for me.
Is there a discrepancy in the fruit, or are they both? I know brandy and cognac are grapes. Is Armagnac grapes, or
Armagnac is grapes as well.
It is okay.
Yeah,
What's the
Armagnac
one-
is grapes as well.
Isn't
But it's
there one?
I
that
think it's the
is
region or something that had something to do with it,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Isn't there a like product from pear?
You mean the Calvados?
Oh,
Because Calvados is apples. Excuse me. Calvados is apples.
you're speaking my love language now, Chuck.
Yeah. Calvados
Listen.
is apples. And there probably is, and put it this way, everything starts from an O to V when you're talking about brandy, basically. So you can have a pear O to V, you can have a peach O to V, you can have an apple O to V. So, and Calvados is like, but no, there's another spot in France, in Brittany, where they make something similar to Calvados.
There is another product that's I'm missing what it is, but
yeah. Well, I did research on it like 10 doggone years ago, and I forgot about it because I was really trying to, and that's when I realized how difficult it is to get spirits into the state. When I started talking to people and saying, this is something you may want to carry because it's unique and you'll be one of the first people to have it. And just the difficulty, well, put it this way, prior to Engler, when he changed everything over, there used to be a situation where in the state of Michigan, because the state basically actually kept the liquor, any liquor store, as long as you ordered a case, they could call the state and say, get me that case. Because some people will say, because there used to be a Madagascar vanilla infused cognac called Navan. And for the longest time, it was in New York and LA. Somebody told me that, why is that not in Detroit? We went to a liquor store, said, can you get us a case? They ordered the case. We had it. We had an event with the Navan. And I found out later, that's how Micaiah remembers me, is because she came to the event where we were pouring Navan.
Do you have any of that left, Chuck?
I know, Chuck. I was going to ask that same question.
No.
So the reason I ask is, so they sent me a bottle of Edmund's Honor. Have you had Edmund's Honor?
No, I haven't.
So Edmund's Honor, same thing. The story is this gentleman was the reason that we have what we know today. When you said Madagascar, you made me think of it, right? Yeah. Vanilla beans. He's the reason, and he's a man of color, right? So they sent me a bottle of that, and I'd be willing to share this with you guys. We'll have to connect because it was such a unique pour. I don't know if you saw the video, man. I made back in the winter. I made ice cream with it in the snow.
Ice cream? Wow.
So I took it old school, like when we were kids, man. I took a steel bowl, went outside, and I made ice cream in the snow with the Edmund's Honor. Yeah, I was busy. Yes. Yes. It was good, man. I mean, it's good, right? It's sweet. It's sweet. It's damn good, and it's what am I thinking of? The Black Spirits Company. I'm drawing a blank, guys. They're the parent company of Edmund's Honor. You say it, I'll know it. Black owned.
Dirt? See, yeah, you have to see. I have to hang out with Lazar more.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
I have to hang out with Lazar more because he would know. He always hips me to the brands I don't know anything about, especially if they're Black owned. Because Edmund's Honor, I'm trying to figure out, do I know that?
Yeah, Tracy, she's the blender that made it. Man, I'll find it. I also sent you a picture of that barrel, Chuck, of the PX Sherry. Okay,
I'll check it out.
So you can check it out. But yeah, I'll find it for you guys. But yeah, man, that old is interesting. Just the story behind it, I believe it's, and I may be pronouncing this wrong. Gascony, is that the region?
Yeah, Gascon.
Gascony.
Yeah,
Gascon. Yeah. So, that's where it comes from. You know. So
Hey Joe, I just I Googled it about Edmund's Honor. It says it's the first subsidiary brand of Pronghorn,
Oh,
Pronghorn.
okay.
a
Okay.
spirits company co-founded
Okay.
by
Pronghorn.
industry
Yes.
veterans Dia Sims, Aaron J. Hall, and Dan Sanborn.
Okay.
Pronghorn. Yep. That's who sent me the bottle. Pronghorn.
Okay. Got you.
Thank God for Google.
Google's nice. We should make a heart out. But Joe, before we make a heart out, where can people that are watching this podcast link up with you and learn about what you're doing?
Absolutely. So the Bourbon Pitmaster. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the Bourbon Pitmaster. Look me up. Reach out to me. Let's talk. I'd love to get you guys on my podcast, talk a little more, right? And you guys got me thinking now more about the barrel influence of wine when it comes to whiskey, man. I'm not gonna lie. You got me because I have so many. I have dark arts back here that's finished in Madeira, Mazzanara.
Nice.
I have Calvados cask that Nancy Fraley did for that's one of the cigar blends, the Murray Hill Club special release, batch number 4, Calvados, right? That apple brandy. It's phenomenal, right?
That sounds good.
Let's stay connected, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on. Let's do this again.
All right.
Appreciate you, Joe. Thanks for coming on board, man.
Thanks, Joe.
Yes,
Talk
pleasure
to you
meeting
guys
you,
soon.
John.
Talk to you soon.
Likewise.
All right,
Go Pistons.
Yes.
I know, right? Take it easy.
All
right.
Take care,
Have a good
guys.
one, Joe.
All right.
Yes, they're coming through. I've been paying attention.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'm gonna get you guys on there. We could talk sports and what?
Deep Eddie.
Remember when we were talking about the other vodka from Texas outside of Tito's?
Oh, yeah.
And this is the cranberry.
Oh, I gotta get that. When I lived in Dallas, that I became a fan of Deep Eddy because I lived in Dallas for 4 years, and I got hip to Deep Eddy. So
yeah, a lot of people really that are in the Tito's, I still say if you pour them some Deep Eddy, they may never do it again.
You're right about that, Chuck, because I stopped buying Tito's because of Deep Eddy.
I rest my case.
There we go. All right, my brothers.
All right, guys.
Talk to you soon.
All right, guys.